So strong block is basically do or die right now. I don't remember where we were in the last video I made. I think we were here, and I had a little squiggle like this that basically said either we hold the bottom or we capitulate. I just drew this just now. And I've said it in the past and I'll say it again. The only way strong block survives, in my opinion, is if they do release the new token pretty soon. It kind of has to start rolling out now. And it looks like they just minted it. If you go to the Strong Block website, it says Stronger is minted AMA April 3rd, article April 4th, upgrade starts April 5th. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel potentially now. The first thing that's interesting here is the MACD is actually about to flip bullish in the next 2 weeks. So I would imagine that sets up a timeline for them to come out with some type of news because the sellers are losing control on at least on the weekly MACD. You can see back here they started turning light red and then we started moving higher, and then once we flipped green we actually shit the bed. So the sellers are now starting to lose control again on the MACD. So the difference between this time and last time, though, is you can see how far we fall into the downside. So I would imagine a move to the upside is coming in April. Now, this is completely dependent on, normally I would say that this is obviously bullish for an asset, at least for some type of bounce when the MACD is flipping bullish. But the problem with the strong block is it's not a real asset. It's kind of like Time Wonderland, where it's, people get offended, but the reality is it's running on Ponzi-nomics. If no one comes in behind you, then the shit falls off the table. As we just saw, there was no one coming in behind us, and we had a retracement. But what my hypothesis here is they're going to roll out the stronger token, which I'm assuming is going to have a new chart, and it's going to look just like this. So like when the new chart comes out, we're basically going to, if there is a new chart even, but I would imagine that there'd be a new chart somewhere because we're gonna have to be able to sell the token. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but what my hypothesis is, they're gonna see, like, new people are gonna see the stronger token and basically see this when we know that this exists already, and basically run the Ponzi back on new people. So if this is actually the bottom, the market cap is really low right now. So technically speaking, we still could have a shot at going back to the all-time high. It is a little bit of a stretch, and in my opinion, we really have to hold this bottom. But there's one big ass candle would bring us back up to 360. Basically something like this. These two big green candles right off the rip just brought us back up. So I would imagine this is what the chart is setting up for. They're going to announce some kind of something, maybe even token goes live or whatever it is, and then the MACD flips bullish, we move higher, back up to 370. Basically, if I see strong go back to $370, it tells me that the token will survive. Until then, we're just kind of chopping around, doing this, that, the other thing. I mean, you can draw all these little tiny support levels that you want. The reality is, if you do look at the selling pressure, it is still pretty high. Even though the peak selling pressure was back here in January, we continued down, and this is still high selling pressure, but it is shrinking. Like, it's still large, but it's going down, which is, if you want to call it a good sign, that's fair. So even maybe one more push to the downside with less selling pressure than before would maybe send us down to $82, but I really think we need to hold this 108 because Bitcoin's moving up, the whole market's moving up, and the fact that we're just sitting here like a dead duck is not really the biggest thing to make me bullish. But obviously going sideways like this is more bullish than dropping down to 80. So I would say if we come down to $82, it has to have a recovery like this. There's no way. If we come down to $80 and we just lollygag like this, it's so bearish. We really can't afford to go any lower than where we're at. But you can see that the selling pressure when you zoom in is subsiding for now. So combining that with the MACD about to flip bullish in the next 2 weeks, we really only have one shot at StrongBlock surviving, and it's basically this month. StrongBlock has to rally in April, or I just don't see it surviving. So it looks like their price is already slowly starting to bleed. I guess I should set up a strong block chart for my own being, because I do want to see, where we're going. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm honestly not entirely sure if there is going to be another chart for the stronger token. But if they're saying they're making another token, I would imagine we would need to be able to sell it somewhere. So it has to be listed on exchanges. And the reality is, StrongBlock's listed on KuCoin, and maybe the stronger token won't be. So that would be another caveat to running the chart back, where if the stronger token gets listed on KuCoin, new people won't know what it is and they'll buy in, and that would send the price higher. But little do they know there's whales on Twitter that have 500 wallets that are that are getting ready to unload. So you can see that as of now, there's really nothing bullish about this. The maximum volume you can see is kicking in. Again, the $80 would really be the next area that we would go down to. Actually, if you go to the close here, you get about 97 and 86. So maybe even a little wick down here to 97 and then a reversal back to the upside. But all in all, I can't be bullish on StrongBlock until we break back into this channel and ultimately over 172. And then the macro time frame, like I said earlier, I would actually be lenient for something like this and say even a move back over 236, I think would be really bullish for StrongBlock. So all in all, we are still in a death trend, but I am trying to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And the selling pressure, even though it's still pretty high, it is dissipating. And then again, the weekly MACD is also ready to flip bullish, probably in the next, I would say probably in the next 2 weeks. So they really have to time this right to where they come up with some kind of bullshit news, the MACD flips bullish, and then we blast out of here. It's the only way, in my opinion. So that's pretty much it. Just keep an eye. I mean, at this point in time, we're at the fate of the new chain, because if they don't do something, we're just going to fall off the table down to $97. So all in all, StrongBlock is still extremely bearish until it breaks over 170. I think a break over 170 confirms that StrongBlock will come back to life, and obviously we'll basically look something like this, where this would be our 170. We'll have a pullback, and then we'll run it back, hopefully even to 1700. But I'm not going to start pulling random numbers out of thin air until we get over 170. I really can't be bullish, and if we break down below $100, I would actually be like, I mean, at this point, I have no opinion on StrongBlock. Like I said, we're either gonna survive from the new chain or we're not. So survival over 172. Until then, we're sitting ducks. So just a little update. I just wanted to point that out. I'm sure most of you know a lot more about it than I do in terms of the chain, but in terms of the price, it looks like shit. And the only way we come back to life is if they do something soon. So just my opinion. None of this is financial advice, and you always have to do what's best for you.